Today we're gonna have a chat about a previously discussed topic that was very popular with the community. It is indeed the rarest items in Realm of the Mad God. If you already have seen the videos I've made on the topic, they're heavily outdated, and my monotone voice in those videos might throw you off, so today I'll try to do it differently with a new updated list I've made. First, we'll have to determine what rarest items means. Granted, there's a lot of grey area with this title, since there's a lot of different factors having influence on how rare the item is. Items in this video will be progressively rarer as we go, and I will not be ranking them from top 10 to 1, since that's completely impossible. Apparently, the drop rates of items are very confidential information that is reserved PPE suppliers for my channel. Please note that I will be including items that currently drop all year around. This is the difference between a rare item and a rare drop. As you can see in the title, we're discussing the rarest drops, meaning that these items have to drop in-game by common enemies you will find in either the realm or the dungeons the realm drops, if you can formulate it that way. I will do another updated video where I include items that are just rare and not commonly seen, because that's a completely different topic. I got that mixed up in my first video. Also note that these items are rare in relation to already rare items, meaning that I'm actually covering super rare drops in this video. With that out of the way, let's get started. If the recent update of buffed drop rates of white bags in dungeons hadn't happened, this list might have been completely different. So before we really kick off this video, let's just have a nod towards the items we lost in the war. These items are now way more realistic to farm for. Now this next one was a little difficult, since you could consider the Battle of the Nexus an all-year dungeon. But objectively, the key is unobtainable, and as we know, the white bags has to be completely accessible through fixed assets in the game. Just note that the Battle of the Nexus whites would be included in this point of the video. Event whites are something we're going to talk about next. Event whites are rare. Very rare drops indeed. They're not always rare items in that sense, since a lot of people farm for these items since they are very appealing. So as you can see on screen, I've listed from top to bottom how rare these event whites are. This was made with the drop location of the items in mind. This is very relevant to the item's rarity because some event bosses only spawn once in each realm. So to sum up the event bosses these items drop from, the Armor is the Lord of the Lost Lands, the Bloody Surprises Cloak, the Sentry, the Vile Trap, the Ghost Ship, and we also have the Red Bee Quiver. Now this is a peculiar addition, because in actuality you have 3 chances in each realm to get the Bee Quiver. So to say, there's the red, the yellow, and the blue one. So these should all be on top, right? Well, as I've read on some threads on the forums and stuff, people seem to agree on that the Red Bee Quiver is the most difficult to get your hands on, since that originates from the bee that gives armor broken, widely considered the most troublesome one. Also, that seems to be the one targeted at first when people clear off the nest event in the realms. So in that sense, you could say you'd have a lesser chance of arriving before the red one's dead. Let's just leave it at top for now. Next up is the Jug, which you have 2 chances of getting for each realm, the Hermit and the Sphinx. I do know for a fact that it is possible for 2 Jugs to drop on the same Hermit, but let's just ignore that for now. And on the 3rd and 4th level, we have the reoccurring event bosses. These are the Cube God, the Skull Shrine, and the Penteract. Well, technically the Quiver of Thunder is not an event white, but let's just include it anyway. Also, I didn't include the alien gear on purpose, since, well, they don't really fit on this list, do they? Now, this is where things get complicated, because there is some complications with ranking a list like this. On the Penteract, you have 5 chances of getting a white bag, whereas on the Skull Shrine you only have 1. As the observant viewer might have noticed, the Ray Katana is on top, which is outrageous. But bear in mind that this list in particular only takes into account the drop location and also assumes that every drop rate for each of these items are the same. This is where I have to adjust the list with my experience in mind. I mean, the Quiver of Thunder should be fairly easy to get, since there's about 15 ents for each realm, meaning that if you buff them to level 4, you will have 6 nature spirits spawn, meaning that there's a possibility of 90 enemies dropping the Quiver of Thunder in a single realm. But we all know that's not the case. So with that in mind, this is how the list looks if you only go by drop locations, but if I put in my experience, the list looks more like this. My reasoning should say itself, but if you disagree with this list, I can't do anything about that. You may leave your own list in the description, Sorry, I'm the one leaving things in the description. Why did I say that? Leave your suggestion if you thought I completely messed up this list. Not considering the Rei Katana, of course. Finally, we can leave this topic of meta items and get to the items you might not think about at first. First thing up is the drinks from the beach zone. And now I'm telling you, this is a rare drop. A very rare drop. It is not a rare item because Deca likes to put these in their anniversary packs. So if you have one of these, it might not be something special. I have some of these myself, but I have not obtained them from their original drop location, which is the beach zone. Now you might start thinking, why is he making such a big deal out of items that are completely useless? And since I participated in the admin events, I have like 100 of those. But objectively, the beach bum is a very rare enemy. It is only found in the realm when Oryx tells you so. A very rare occurrence, the fewest of realm players have experienced. I think I've encountered one realm where I saw there was a beach bum, and that was it. So this goes hand in hand with another rare drop, which is the Devi Key. Now the Devi's Key, again, is not a rare item. You can buy it in the Nexus, but it is a very rare drop. I know that you can get keys in quest chests, but these do not appear naturally in the realms. So to say, the Devi's Key is a very rare drop. This next one is an inclusion in a parenthesis, since it's only rare due to a lot of players not knowing where you can find this item. It is the experimental potion. When the Tinkerer first got introduced into the game, these experimental potions were everywhere since you got them from completing the first quest in the Tinkerer. Please note that this was through completions of quests, meaning that these were not drops. The only naturally appearing drop location of the experimental potion was in the Mad Lab in previous builds, where you could destroy the experimental tables, or whatever they're called, in the Mad Lab. Only if you found one of these tables, the experimental potion had a chance of being dropped, which I thought was a reasonable addition. But for some reason this was changed, and now the only source of experimental potions in the game, not by quests, is the arena. This one's in a parenthesis because, well, I'm sort of breaking my own rule here, since this item is not that rare of a drop, but more of an item. And as I know, as you know, not many players even use the arena. Now for the second to last drop I will be featuring is the Magic Mushroom. If you're an old player, you might be completely familiar with this item. You will find this item in particular dropped by the Grey Blob in the Midlands. It gives the player hallucinating on self if used and has a duration of 30 seconds. Now interesting is that this item has been included since build 96, therefore it is a 10-year-old item. It was originally added as an Easter egg, granted that the Forbidden Jungle wasn't introduced at this point, meaning that the Magic Mushroom was the only source of the hallucinating debuff. But as of now, the drop locations have been expanded, and the Magic Mushroom now also drops from the mushrooms in the Fungal Cavern. It is still a rare drop, but the item's obtainability is increased drastically. If you look away from this minor addition that Deca has made, this item was for a long time known as one of the rarest drops in this game. Now for the one honorable mention I'd like to do before getting to the rarest drop, in my opinion, is the tinctures. Oh well, the effusions, since they are generally rarer. Much like the greater variants of different potions, these were pushed aside before the Lost Holes was made public. The rarest of these being the effusion of speed dropped in the Reef, and the effusion of attack from the Secluded Thicket's last boss. Let's just give another applause for the greater potions. For a long while these were all unobtainable. I believe the first ones to be released were the greater potion of wisdom and the greater potion of vitality. And last but not least, for the honorable mentions, we have the tarot cards, which I know drop. They're left in an ordinary mark bag, and I'm not sure as to how rare these ones are. They might be of the same drop chance as the treasures. Now for what I consider some of the rarest drops in RotMG are the legendary eggs. You might be disappointed, you might be confused as to why I included eggs dropping in a basket, debatedly one of the most annoying bags to appear when you've killed a boss. But I can say without a shadow of a doubt that these eggs are incredibly rare. I myself have only gotten one legendary egg as a drop, and that was a woodland egg from an abyss. Not to be confused by these guys who I just don't care about. I can tell you that I've edited 2 PPEs that got a legendary egg. One being the Whiteback Wizard by Luca, and the other one I've forgotten, so you'll have to go back and look yourself. Now, why the hell are these eggs so goddamn rare? They are dropped by both event bosses and dungeon bosses. That's basically every boss in this entire game. And yet still, they are so rare. Why? Well, I think it's partly because pets are overpowered, and also, why would the drop rate be higher? Now, in a recent patch, they also included pure pet eggs, and I'm not sure of their functionality. I know that they don't have a feed power like every other egg, and I'm not sure either if these eggs are even dropped by any enemies. Currently, there are only 3 variants of the pure pet egg in the game. So, if these eggs drop in the same fashion as the pet eggs, this might mean that these 3 eggs, maybe only the 2 of them since they're legendary, but these 2 eggs might be the rarest drops there is to get in Realm of the Mad God. Now, please bear in mind that I'm a bit unsure of this list. I went with information from Realmeye and different forums where I could find information about drop rates, items, and just pure experience. You're completely free to have your own opinion. So if you feel qualified to educate us all on this topic, you can do that in the comment section. Since we now are approaching the 10-minute mark and this video is getting sort of long, I would like to include a tiny bit of discussion here in the end. So as you might have noticed by now, most of these drops included are dropped in white bags. But we also have another bag that drops in this game, which is the orange bag. Some orange bag drops are even considered to be way more rare than the white bag drop in the particular dungeon we're talking. Hereby thinking of the Candyland, where we would way more like to see that orange bag instead of that candy-coated fuck. I would very much like to include these orange bag drops on the list, but I don't have any experience myself getting these items since I don't play this game nearly enough. I asked around and I got a suggestion that the Stheno snake skin from the snake pit was a very rare drop. That drops in the old mark bag though, so we'll have that included too. To clarify, what I'm asking of you, the viewer, is your experience / knowledge on either purple bags, cyan bags, mark bags, or orange bag drops that are particularly rare. If you got an answer for me, just hit me up on Discord. My Discord tag is on screen right now, and my Discord is in the description if you want to join that too. I will be sure to credit you, but just make sure that I haven't covered the item on this channel before. So, beforehand, thank you so much, and thank you for watching this video. Until then, I will see you guys in another video.